An IT professional with an engineering degree and an MBA, he is a versatile personality. He is a professional tabla player and a wildlife photographer. Hailing from India and now in UK for more than 2 decades, Saleel Tambe is our guest for the day. Welcome, Saleel, to Oli Green.
Thanks, Abhi. Nice to meet you.
Okay, now before we get into our main topic of your love for nature, let's try and understand a little bit about your passion for music and the journey that you're taking in that direction.
Sure. I would love to do that. But before that, let me say that the big description that you just mentioned as my introduction, I'm just a modest nature lover and trying to do my day's job. That's what it is. And for some recreation, music is in my family. So it's not the way you have portrayed it. I must say that I'm a student. I'm trying to learn all these things, and that's how. But I'll give you a quick summary of what I am. So my background is I'm an engineer by my academics. So I'm a telecom engineer, telecom and electronics engineer. Then, as you rightly said, I did masters in business administration, and then I have all through been in various industries for about 30 plus years. And I have done consulting, I have done design engineering, I have done IT, I have done manufacturing in my past life. So currently, I am with one of the big four consulting firms, and my current role as profession is into helping the firms for their technology strategy and technical enablement for achieving the business goals. So that's how. But this is about the profession. On the passion side, as you rightly said, I dabble a bit into music and of course nature and wildlife is very close to my heart. So back in the time when I was in India, I was roaming around a lot because I was based in Pune and my hometown is Indore, which is in MP. So when I was doing my engineering, I was in a very core area of Madhya Pradesh, which is the center point of about 6 to 7 national parks around. So that was the time that I was only dreaming of going to national parks, because when you are a student, the only challenge is money in your pocket. And even having one round of gypsy in the national park was like a big dream for me. You know, I mean, still that is a dream, but that time it was more the challenge that money brings it for you because you're a student. And that was the time when I also worked on one of the lakes in my hometown, Indore, which I was very keen on preserving and protecting the birds there, because a lot of birds used to visit there during the migratory season. And those were the times where bird watching was not a commonly known practice. If you go towards the bushes, people used to doubt on you. What is this guy going to do there? Like it was not seen as positively as it is seen right now. But that was the time we identified that our area has a lot of potential for birds and the conservation. And I am very fortunate and happy to say that that initiative is now turned into proper sanctuary, and that lake has been declared as a proper bird sanctuary in Indore, which is my hometown.
Oh, great.
Now, on top of that, talking of engineering, my wife and me, we are engineering mates, and my in-laws are in Jabalpur. So it sometimes happens that when I'm living in the UK, I travel to Jabalpur on my own. So my in-laws and people around think that, oh, this guy, his wife doesn't come to Jabalpur, but he comes more often. Well, there is something secret with that. So the secret is that it is surrounded by so many national parks and the nature-rich areas that I always love to visit my home state.
So both sides you
And
have both sides you have ample provision for photography.
yes, exactly. And in terms of music, I must say that music is in my family. My father is a vocalist, my mom is a Kathak dancer, and they are both reputed in their own fields. But I mean, I never took it that seriously as they have, because although it's not profession for them, but they are quite reputed and they are well delved into that. But I kind of picked it up as a family thing. And later on, when I was in my jobs and my early days of my professional career, kind of I couldn't devote that much time for the practice and the devotion that music requires for that. But the wish was somewhere there hidden in my heart. And music is such thing that if it touches you once, you can't be away from that. Same like nature, these are addictions. People call drug addictions, people call alcohol addictions, but these are also equally positive
There is a rhythm
addictions.
in
Yeah.
both. There is
So
a
it's
rhythm
very
in both.
difficult to go away from them. You feel, restless if you don't do it for some time. Ask any musician, if the musician hasn't practiced for 2 days, he'll be restless. He or she will be restless. Don't mind if they don't eat for a couple of days, that's fine. But if you don't practice your instrument or your music, that troubles them. So this is the kind of passion it is. Same is with nature. If you're too much into your work and if you're not able to go around, look for some birds, look on the trees, look in the bushes, look on the water, then it kind of gives you a feeling that your life is not what it should be. Right? So this is how I look at it. I mean, I don't claim to be any maestro in music or any David Attenborough's in nature and wildlife. So you know what I mean. So it's more that these are the things close to me. And when we are in very demanding and stressful corporate life, these are the things that give you a very good, a bit of a change of your mind and a bit of a solace from that. So that is where I look at these things. And also, when I came to Pune, we worked on our first book, which was Birds of Western Ghats. So this book was published by Oxford University Press and Bombay Natural History Society together. So when we worked for this book was on a spatial coastal area of India, the Western Ghats. And we researched and we roamed around a lot and gathered all the information, photographs for this book. And the digital era was just in its very, very, very primitive stage. So we used to do all these trips, go there and do all the information collection because there was no Google at that time. So that's the biggest challenge. You talk to the villagers, you talk to people who are interested in birds, you collate various pieces of information. It's like jigsaw puzzle that you put together. And then coming back home, you try to play a lottery with your photographs because it was film time when you don't know on the field whether your photographs have turned out to be the right time. And I'll tell you an interesting incident. We needed a picture of Malabar trogon for our book. Yeah. And we were roaming around, searching around, chasing that species a lot, but we couldn't get a decent picture of that. So we borrowed that image from someone and made the book ready. And I'll tell you, within 2 months of the book was published, I got an opportunity to photograph Malabar trogon, which never was possible before.
Okay.
So these are the kind of things that nature puts on your plate.
Now it's very clear how you got into the nature photography. I mean, but then you do. I mean, coming back to your music part, you do a little bit of music programs and all, right? You play tabla for.
Yeah. So sorry, I left it halfway there. So because of the early corporate life and its demanding time, I couldn't pursue music as much I would like to. But when I came to the UK, and here the lifestyle was a bit different than the lifestyle in India. Professionally, you work very hard for 5 days, but your weekends and your other time is all your time. So you can plan it very well. So I kind of resumed my music side of it. And today I'm fortunate that some of the very renowned artists coming over from India, when they perform here, I get an opportunity to accompany them. I am practicing myself with some of the revered gurus of India, and it is giving me a lot of blessing in terms of growing my skill. In terms of that, I still call myself a student, but it has gone to a level where I could achieve a small percentage of what I used to dream a few years back. So that's where it is. And I've been busy here playing a lot on stage, in concerts, in various projects. So I traveled to Europe, I traveled to various places within the country, to the US for all these, like a full 3-hour concerts. And they are usually the classical concerts. So you know how it needs in terms of all the focus on those 3 hours. But that is giving me a lot of joy. I must say that I rediscovered the field, and that has given me double the joy than I used to have before.
Great. That's great to hear. I mean, now it's very clear how you got initiated in this world of nature, how you got initiated in the world of music. Those things are very, very clear. I mean, now let's straight come to our main point of discussion. Recently, you completed clicking the 5 species of owls found in England. This was a journey of more than maybe 2 decades plus. Can you give us a brief on this journey? How you managed to click all those 5 owl species?
Yeah, good and interesting point that you mentioned. See, one thing that keeps you going is the curiosity in nature, right? There are the same birds that exist. They are in the books, they are in films, they are everywhere. But why do you run behind them? People sometimes ask me that if you want to climb Everest, why do you climb all the way? You can take a helicopter and just land there. So this is an equivalence of that. So I like to challenge myself to look for new species or the new behaviors of birds and animals. And when you go to the jungle, it's not about what you get on your camera or what you get in terms of something that you can put up on the wall as a showpiece, but it is the feeling that you are exploring something or you're finding something that Mother Nature has served for you, right? So that feeling gets more enhanced when you think of these kind of things. For example, when I came to this country, I had done a lot of bird photography in India, and India is so rich in terms of birds. But Britain, and or rather England, because of the weather and because of the geography, geology, and the ecology here, there are very limited bird species here. So when I came here, I got to know that there are 5 owl species in this country, and I'm obsessed with owls because owls have a very different life, and they have a very fascinating, bird life aspects in them. So I could quickly get a couple of owls to see around me or the places where I was known. But the real challenge started when the rest of the 3 species, which are not so rare to find, they were on my list, and I was chasing them for years and years and years. Whenever I got time, I went out. Sometimes you talk to a lot of people, they give you clues. So you travel for miles, you reach there. Unfortunately, you don't get to see them because luck is not on your side, so you come back. Sometimes people provide you inputs which mislead you. I mean, they don't have wrong intention, but some other owls they have seen, they confuse it with another species. And then all your thing, you go, oh no, I wasn't talking about this. I was talking about something else. So going through this process, there was the 5th owl, which is called long-eared owl. And I'll tell you, up and down, I tried every ways and means to at least get a sight of that owl. But last 20 years, I never had any luck. I almost search every place that is probable habitat for this owl, but it's the mix of the weather, which is a big gamble in this country, and sometimes your work pressure, sometimes the time of the day. Because one challenging thing with owls is they only come out at dusk.
And your dusk
So
starts very late.
yeah,
Most
so
of the time.
even if you are there, but sometimes you don't get to see them because it's so dark and it's so difficult lighting conditions that they are there, but you can't see them. So the probability factor in chasing these species is it goes down and down as the species are very specific for that. So this a 5th owl, which is long-eared owl, I got that opportunity, and I was fortunate just about 3 months ago when it was at a nature reserve around 50 miles from my house. And when I went there, again, dusk was a challenge because the nature reserve closes on at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So even knowing that it is there, I couldn't get a glimpse of it. But there is one day when the nature reserve is kept open late in the night for the friends of, there is a group associated with that nature reserve which are called friends of that nature reserve. I'm not disclosing the location, obviously, for reasons that
Okay.
otherwise, if you tell the location, people start flocking there, and it's not good for the bird species. So, a good practice is not to disclose the locations for rare species. But when I was there, because of these late opening hours, we could stay up to some more time after dusk. And I was lucky, or the owl had mercy on me that this poor guy has been searching me for last 20 years. So let's bless him. So that owl came out in front of me, made a nice flight, and gave me the eyes. The owl eyes are always very very captivating. So it gave me the look that I was dying for all these years. And I'll tell you, this is more than winning a lottery. You know,
Okay.
so that's how my fifth owl was bagged.
Okay, so that's been a very very long and I mean when I saw it in your Instagram handle, you had mentioned that patience is the key. I mean you've
Yeah,
been patient for
exactly.
almost 20 years.
Yeah. So I've seen people who have spent 55 years birding in their life, and they say, "Oh, good that you found it so quickly. We are yet to see that species." You know,
Oh, I see.
so it gives you a bit of a. There are occasions where you think, "Oh, this is all waste of time. You know, you are not going to get anything. What's the point going all that far and keep searching, and you don't get anything at the end of the day?" But when you get it, it's so rewarding that you get your answer there.
Okay. Now, one thing that you start birding and bird photography as a passion initially, then later you move on to a stage where you're trying to convey a message through your photographs. If there is one message that you're trying to convey through your photographs, what could that be?
I mean, this is a good point. And when you are mentioning of music and this, I find a similarity in music as well as nature, that you need to pursue this as a sadhana, as we call it in Sanskrit or Hindi. It's not something that you turn switch on and everything is ready for you. A musician cannot be a musician overnight, or a nature lover cannot be a real, he cannot get his dreams coming true in nature just in one day. When people see pictures or they see photographs, they think that I have gone to the sanctuary and click, 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 I have clicked 10 species. That's not what it happens, right? So this is where actually the perseverance or pursuing that at that patience level comes in. And this is what actually counts for uh, the the aspect which keeps you seriously dedicated to that, rather than, I mean, of course it is fun and it is joy, but a bit of hard work and devotion for that is what helps in that.
Okay. See, now these days you see a lot of youngsters coming to this field. I mean, if you look at Instagram or any social media platforms, you can see that a lot of people come into bird photography, wildlife photography. There's not much of monetary benefits involved in this. I mean,
Yeah.
you cannot make a living out of this. Uh, what will be your message for them? Because I mean, it can't be a profession; it has to be a passion. You have to, as you rightly said, keep at it, keep doing it continuously as a sadhana to build your skills.
Yeah.
So, if there is a message that you want to convey, what is that?
Yeah. Another good point that you raised. Good thing is that all the work that people like me or my people elder than me have done for all these years, that is now resulting in growing the interest in the younger generation, which is a very good thing. I am never troubled with the lot of people coming into this and more people getting into it. It's in fact a nice thing that people are getting interested in nature. They are coming closer to natural history and wildlife and ecology, which is a good thing. Of course, there are pros and cons of that. People need to have proper best practices and they should follow discipline and all. But my message to people would be that, see, monetary gains is not always the gain that satisfies you in every aspect. Yeah, you might get money, but you cannot buy joy. And good thing is, as my elders always told me, in fact, I have heard this from Dr. Salim Ali when I was very young, that he has named his autobiography as Fall of a Sparrow. So actually, it was his rise that he saw a fallen sparrow and he noticed something that gave him all his career and all his life. So he noticed that one of the sparrows had some different coloration on its throat, and that's what triggered him to be, curious about things. So, I mean, if he had thought of that about that sparrow as a dead bird and just thrown it in the bin, probably he could have been a successful businessman somewhere running a shop, right? But that is where the difference comes in, and the joy and satisfaction that you get is cannot be measured in monetary benefits. Although some people compare it as a return on investment, but unfortunately, that return is not in terms of hard
Money.
notes. That return is in some other way.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. See, I mean, the joy, the happiness that you get is much more valuable than the
Valuable,
money
yeah.
you make. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Saleel. It's great talking to you for so
Same
long.
here, same. Yeah. This is a never ending subject and so close to my
Yeah.
heart. I can keep talking for days.
Okay, I'll keep coming back to you. Wishing you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Thank